Welcome back to MetaCast, everybody. I'm John, your host, for this deep dive into the world of video games.
Hey, everyone.
And joining me, as always, is the amazing Maya.
Excited to be here.
Today, we're going way back to the 90s, a time of dial-up internet. And you guessed it, the birth of a certain Bandicoot.
Ah, the 90s.
To guide us through this blast from the past, we'll be exploring a fantastic YouTube video from levelup.com.
A golden age for gaming, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's titled La Historia detrás de Crash Bandicoot, or for us non-Spanish speakers, the story behind Crash Bandicoot.
All right.
So get ready to spin, jump, and whump as we unravel the wild ride that is the creation of Crash Bandicoot.
Now,
Maya set the stage for us. What was the gaming scene like back then?
well, think of it like this. You had Nintendo ruling the playground with their star player Mario.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was Sega speeding into the scene with their cool, edgy mascot Sonic.
Right.
But then a new contender enters the ring, Sony's PlayStation. They had the tech, the ambition, but they were missing that one crucial element. A mascot. A hero to rally behind.
Enter Naughty Dog, right?
Exactly.
A studio, as I understand it, that wasn't quite the household name they are today.
Exactly. Back then, they were known for their work on the Apple II and Atari ST, even dabbling in early console games. But it was their move to the PlayStation that really changed the game, so to speak.
And this is where things get interesting, right?
Yeah.
They had this early concept for a 3D platformer, and the nickname for it was, wait for it, Sonic's ass.
It's true.
I mean, where else could we start this story?
The camera angle fixed right behind the character, well, it led to some humorous comparisons.
Yeah.
But beyond the funny name, this concept actually reveals a key part of their thinking.
Okay.
They wanted to showcase the PlayStation's 3D capabilities, offer a fresh perspective, quite literally.
So how did they go from Sonic's ass to the Crash we know and love? Was it a straight shot, or were there some detours along the way?
Well, the journey from concept to icon was definitely an adventure. They were inspired by a surprising mix. Sonic, of course, with his speed and attitude.
Right.
But also the Tasmanian Devil, known for his chaotic energy.
Mm.
They were aiming for a character that was both quick and wild, bursting with that classic cartoon charm.
I can see that, especially with those signature spinning attacks and that mischievous grin.
Right.
Pure cartoon gold.
But here's the thing. Crash wasn't the only contender vying for the PlayStation mascot title.
Oh, tell me more. Who else was in the running?
Imagine a world where instead of Crash, we had Willy the Wombat.
Willy the Wombat.
They actually considered a whole array of animals.
Yeah.
Wombats, potaroos, you name it.
Okay, I'm already picturing the merchandise. So why did the Bandicoot ultimately win out? Was it a landslide or was it a close call?
Well, for starters, Willy the Wombat was already trademarked, which put a damper on things. But beyond that, the team felt the Bandicoot had something special. That unique look, the potential for those wacky animations. It just clicked.
And let's be honest, Crash Bandicoot just rolls off the tongue better, doesn't it?
Agreed. But there's another interesting choice they made with Crash. Something that might surprise you. He doesn't speak.
Now that you mention it, yeah. Was that a technical limitation or a creative decision?
It was intentional.
Okay.
They believed that actions speak louder than words, especially for a character like Crash.
Right.
They wanted his personality to shine through his movements and expressions, just like those classic silent cartoon stars.
You know, it makes perfect sense. His wacky movements, the slapstick reactions.
Yeah.
They're so expressive you don't even need dialogue. They nailed that Looney Tunes vibe.
They did. And to get that level of animation quality, they actually brought in some serious talent from, wait for it, Hollywood. Charles Zambillas and Joe Parson, both renowned animators, worked on bringing Crash to life. They wanted to blend the best of Hollywood animation with cutting-edge game design, something pretty revolutionary for the time.
Hollywood animators on a video game.
Yeah.
That's impressive. So they had their hero. But every good hero needs a villain, right? And that's where Dr. Neo Cortex comes in. Who was the inspiration for this larger-than-life antagonist?
Well, Jason Rubin, one of Naughty Dog's founders, was a huge fan of Pinky and the Brain. He loved the idea of this big-brained, ambitious villain with his goofier sidekicks. And visually, they drew inspiration from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, especially with Cortex's over-the-top features.
Yeah, I can definitely see those influences. The oversized head,
Yeah.
the manic energy. He really embodies that evil scientist in a cartoon world archetype. But bringing all of this together, Crash Cortex, those vibrant environments on the PlayStation must have been a challenge. The PlayStation was groundbreaking, but 3D graphics were still in their early stages, weren't they?
Absolutely. The PlayStation had its limits, especially when it came to 3D graphics. But Naughty Dog was determined to push those limits, even hack the system a bit to bring their vision to life.
Hacking the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have my attention. What did they do?
Spill the secrets.
They were using powerful silicon graphics machines, the same ones used to create special effects for blockbuster movies like Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park.
These machines allowed them to create incredibly detailed animations and environments. But the PlayStation's hardware simply couldn't handle all that data in real time.
So how did they get around that? Did they have to scale things back?
Well, Andy Gavin, Naughty Dog's lead programmer, wasn't one to back down from a challenge. He basically took it upon himself to find ways to bypass the PlayStation's limitations to squeeze out every ounce of processing power it had.
So he's the one who actually hacked the PlayStation. Can you give us a specific example of what he did?
Well, take Crash's animations. The PlayStation just couldn't handle the sheer number of calculations needed to make all of Crash's polygons move smoothly at 30 frames per second. So they came up with a clever solution. They streamlined the animations.
Streamline? How do you streamline an animation?
They removed unnecessary details from the models and even simplified the underlying skeletal structure, basically tricking the PlayStation into thinking it was dealing with a less complex model. Pretty ingenious, right?
That's incredible. It's like they were working magic. And did they use any other tricks to get the game running smoothly?
They did. For example, instead of loading an entire level into the PlayStation's limited memory, which was a mere 2 megabytes at the time, they divided levels into smaller chunks. As Crash moved through the level, the PlayStation constantly loaded in new pieces of the environment seamlessly without interrupting gameplay.
So they were basically inventing level streaming on the fly. It sounds like they were rewriting the rules of game development with Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Did Sony have any idea what Naughty Dog was capable of?
Their innovations completely blew the minds of Sony's engineers. Nobody had ever seen a game access data from the disc so frequently and seamlessly. In fact, the technique was so revolutionary that Naughty Dog actually patented the process.
Wow, they were truly pioneers. Okay, so after all that hard work and ingenuity, the big day finally arrived. Crash's debut. What was the reaction like?
After months of grueling 12-hour workdays, Crash Bandicoot finally made his grand entrance at E3 in 1996. And let me tell you, the reaction was electric. The game looked and played like nothing else on the PlayStation, a true technical marvel for its time.
It must have felt incredible for the team to finally unveil their creation to the world. But they were facing some stiff competition, right? Weren't they going head-to-head with another big 3D platformer? Crash Bandicoot launched right around the same time as Nintendo's groundbreaking 3D adventure Super Mario 64. It was a clash of the titans.
How did Crash fare against the reigning champ, Mario? Was he able to carve out his own space in the 3D platforming world?
Crash Bandicoot was a massive success, selling incredibly well in its first year. And what's really interesting is that sales actually increased year after year. It really exceeded everyone's expectations and proved that Crash was here to stay.
That's an amazing feat, especially considering the competition. So what was the impact of this success on Naughty Dog? Did it change the course of the studio?
Without a doubt, Crash Bandicoot's success became the foundation for everything that followed. It gave them the resources and the confidence to push their boundaries further, leading to sequels, spin-offs like Crash Team Racing, and eventually their critically acclaimed franchises like Uncharted and The Last of Us. So Crash Bandicoot wasn't just a hit game, it was a launch pad for one of the most successful studios in gaming history. It's amazing to see how one game could have such a ripple effect.
What's fascinating is how Naughty Dog's dedication to innovation, their willingness to push conventions, became their trademark evident in every subsequent title. It's as if setting that high bar with Crash Bandicoot inspired them to continuously raise it, with each new project never content to rest on their laurels.
It's a great reminder that pushing boundaries, challenging yourself creatively and technically, can lead to extraordinary results. We spent a lot of time talking about Crash's journey, but I'd love to circle back to LevelUp.com's video. What else stood out to you from their perspective?
Their video really captures the energy of the 90s gaming scene. They do a fantastic job of showing how Crash Bandicoot emerged as a response to the dominance of Mario and Sonic, how Naughty Dog was really aiming to create something fresh and distinct. They even have some great behind-the-scenes footage of the development process, which is a real treat for gaming history buffs.
Oh, I love those behind-the-scenes glimpses. It's amazing to see how much work and passion went into these games that we now consider classics.
Right. And they also delve into some of the technical challenges that Naughty Dog face, which we've touched on a bit here, but they go into even more detail in the video, which I know some of our more technically minded listeners will appreciate.
Absolutely. For anyone wanting a visual deep dive, we highly recommend checking it out on YouTube. Now, before we wrap up this wild ride through gaming history, we want to leave you with one final thought. Something to ponder as you continue your own gaming adventures.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've talked a lot about the technical side of things, but I think there's a bigger lesson here, a more universal one. It's about the power of creative vision and the courage to chase those wild ideas, even if they seem impossible at first. Crash Bandicoot is a testament to that spirit.
It really is. It's a reminder that sometimes the most groundbreaking ideas come from the most unexpected places, and that those crazy ideas, the ones that make people raise an eyebrow, those are often the ones that change the world.
Well said. On that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the world of Crash Bandicoot. We hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane and that you're feeling inspired to chase those wild, game-changing ideas of your own. Until next time, keep on gaming, keep on learning, and never underestimate the power of a good spin attack.